Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. My name is Nacho Riesco and here we are again sculpting organic designs with Jewelry organic designs with ZBrush. So welcome everybody. So today I'm going to make more progress on the relief I started last week. So, okay, first of all, let me know if my voice is good, the music is not too loud, and everything is working fine on your side. I will pay attention to your messages and to your comments on the chats. So I will try to answer all of your questions, all of your comments. So feel free to leave your comments or questions, suggestions, critics, everything. And I'm checking that my stream, I'm not sure. Okay, looks like it is working because I was checking my restream settings, but here I can see that it is working. So everything is, the sound is good. So okay, so go ahead. Let me check if everything is okay. Everything is working fine. Okay, as I said before, today I'm gonna make more progress on this design that I started on my previous stream. So I'm going to try to transform an image into a bas relief. So what I have is this picture. This I grab it from Google. I think it's a statue which is on a cemetery. I don't remember the location. And then I'm going to try to convert the 3D sculpture based from a picture into a bas relief, onto a medium, not a high relief, maybe a medium relief, because you can see here we were setting the measurements. Let me check it again. So this, we decide that it has to be from top to bottom around 40 millimeters. So this is going to be a relief for a metal, and the total height, the total depth of the relief is this. It is from left to right. It is around 4 millimeters thickness, total height of the relief. So with this, with that measurement, we're going to try to convert the picture into a relief. Okay, let's see. Okay, everything is okay. So I'm gonna start working on the hands. I think so. This is this next step I'm going to take. So I'm going to use the same method as on the face. So it's starting from a 3D model. For the hands, I'm going to use this brush. This brush is IMMB parts. That means insert mesh body parts, and here we have a hand. You can see here we can insert hands. Okay, probably better to select this before insert anything. I'm gonna use this base mesh to create the hands. Okay, so let's drag it. Split the mass points. So this is going to be the hand. You know that I already have the image attached to the floor as a reference. Okay, so let's see if this is going to be the opposite. So it should be turning to the other side. So like this, I'm gonna try to match more or less the position of the hands. In this case, this is the right hand. It is more or less something here, like this. Gonna start applying a mask, invert the mask, and start rotating the wrist like this. And I'm gonna select another mask, grabbing all the fingers, invert the mask, and now bending the position of the fingers. Where is here? Like this. Maybe it should be a little bit more rotated, like this. Hi Leonard, welcome, and hi Fexter, welcome. I'm fine. Hope you are fine too. Here I am again, like every week, Wednesday, streaming on ZBrush Live. And as I was making on the past week, I started when I have to make the faces or the heads, in this case, or the hands. I used to start with a 3D mesh instead of sculpt directly the hands as a relief. I prefer to grab a 3D model, in this case this, try to match the pose more or less, because the hand is only visible one side of the hand. It's not going to be necessary to add a lot of detail, but maybe the knuckles are here. The hand should be here. I'm gonna start bending I'm gonna make the the fingers a little bit thicker using the inflate brush to inflate the fingers. And now I'm going to start bending the pinky finger, this. And now using the move topological brush, this is going to be very useful to being able to work on each finger individually. I don't care about the thumb, for example, because it is not visible. And also, I think I should be turned like this way and like this way. The hand. Sculpting hands on reliefs, it's a very tricky part of the process, because the hands is very easy to see the hands deformed or not well sculpted. So you should pay attention about the hands when you're sculpting the hands, and you are going to use the hands on a relief. It's a very common part that to make mistakes, or like this. Maybe I'm gonna bend other fingers. I'm not going to use Dynamesh yet. Let's turn it off. And thank you very much, HL Exotic. I'm your favorite ZBrush streaming. It's a bit honor for me to know that. Let me see if my stream is working well. Yeah. At the moment, everything is only, I'm only receiving comments from YouTube. Okay, I'm receiving comment from Twitch as well. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Let's go ahead with the hands, because the hand is going to take a bit of time. So I don't care about the other fingers, because you can see from the picture, they are not visible. I'm gonna zoom in the finger. I'm going to open a big pen application to start drawing on the screen. There you can see that we only see here on this is the pinky finger, and the other fingers are not visible. They are not visible on the relief, so I don't care about the other ones. But I should match as more as possible the hand with the perspective of the hand with the relief of the relief, and with the 3D model like this. I'm gonna subdivide it once. Let's work a little bit more on the pinky. It should be something like this. I don't care about this one. I don't care about the others. Maybe I can use, remember, you can use Sculpting Pro to destroy parts of the mesh. ZBrush is telling to me that the mesh is composed by different subdivision levels, so I need to delete them to being able to work with the Dynamesh. So I'm gonna delete this. And this, I think this is more or less the perspective of the hand. Let's match a little bit more. Only the right hand. Now I need to repeat the same thing with the other hand. But once we have this, let's refine a little bit more the pinky finger. Try to have a good perspective. Yeah, one of the most complicated things when you're sculpting reliefs is because it's a mix between 3D and 2D. Maybe we can say we are working on 2.5D. So we need to pay attention at the perspective of the drawing, or in this case, the perspective from the picture. So maybe, yes, maybe it's going to be enough. Let's divide it. Okay, I'm starting receiving some questions, so let me read them. No, I hope you are well, Maya Misp. You are in Ukraine. Yeah, it's a dangerous place to be now. Sitting in one of our tongue and watching. Oh, only one way to relax and enjoy of my hobby. Yeah, okay. I'm really. It's a big pleasure for me, a bit honor for me that I'm be part of your relaxed time on these hard times that you are living. I send you the best wishes for you and hope everything will be solved in the future. Oh, let me read the question again. So, I want to sculpt a dragon relief on a shield. Truth Seeker, you want to sculpt a dragon relief on a shield? How should I approach? Do I make an alpha of the dragon on shield or should I make it separately? I think you should make it separately as I am doing now. You should start separating as many parts as possible from of the dragon. So I mean the body, the head, the arms, the claws, or the wings in case that it has wings, and start making a composition over on top of your shield. I think my opinion is when you need to make reliefs, try to avoid to use alphas when you are trying to make high quality or good quality reliefs. So depending on the kind of application that you want your dragon, if it's just for rendering purposes or for video games or purposes for rendering purposes, maybe you can use alphas. Okay, it's permitted, it's okay. But when as my job is creating reliefs for 3D printing, so for CNC milling machines, so it's much better to work like my way of working, or just my opinion, to have cleaner shapes and better defined volumes. Daniel Petrusche, how did you add a reference image? Daniel, are you talking about this image or this image? There are two different ways of doing it. You mean this one? About this one, I'm using an external application called this is pure ref. It's an external application where you can dock different images and have all of them on your screen. You can see it. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can. I'm using now the wheel button of the mouse to make the pen moving around the picture. You can zoom in and zoom out using the wheel of your mouse, and it's very handy. When you are double clicking on the image, you will frame the image on the window. So it's going to be a very useful application to being able to stock image, reference image on your canvas. Okay, so let's follow working. Yeah, I'm watching some kind of mistake here on the on the eye. Okay, so once we have this, let's go. It says I strongly recommend you to try to avoid to do this. Maybe you have the mind. Once I have the 3D, the next step is just to squeeze it, and now you have I have a bas relief version. Maybe this can work, but I prefer to use this another process. It's more or less the same, but I recommend you to try to avoid to do this, because with this you're going to have a lot of problems with the machine when you are milling the relief, because here we have a lot of overhands and floating things like this. You can see and my way of do this is selecting the subtool. We have the hand. I'm gonna repeat the same workflow as I was using for the head. or the face. Go into alpha and clicking from mesh. I'm gonna move this. So this window will pop up on your screen. So here you can start rotating your model, but we want to use the front view, the frontal camera. So once you have this, clicking OK, and now you have the depth information based from the subtool selected. So next step is to mesh. So that means that we're going to convert the alpha into a mesh. So clicking on to mesh, this is what we have. And you can see now we can now squish it like this. And now I'm gonna get rid of the plane. So I'm going to use this slice curve. I'm gonna grab this portion of the mesh, Control Shift click. Now delete hidden. Delete hidden, and now we can use this. Now I'm going to convert this as an insert mesh. Create insert mesh. I'm gonna create a new brush. Let's come back to the original. Maybe I can select this, and I'm going to put it on place. But better, I'm going to use this one. Like this. And this is going to be one of the hands. Let's split mask points. Let's okay, this should be visible. And now we have here one of the hands. You can see it's completely, it's like a block. So we are creating a relief version of the hand. So okay, maybe it should be more here. Okay, I think this is going to be the right position. Let's convert it into a Dynamesh. I prefer to use the plugin Dynamesh utility. So I'm gonna create a mesh of, for example, just for the hand, it's going to be enough to have 800,000 polygons, for example, 0.8 and 0.8 Dynamesh. Hey XA, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Jaén Herrera Castañeda. Yes, I'm creating a bas relief project. Yes. So you can see that the total height is 4 millimeters. I'm gonna smooth a little bit without the Sculptors Pro, of course. If not, we're gonna destroy. So this is going to be one of the hands. And now I'm going to select the other. Gonna come back to this one. Let's come back. Let's back to history here. I can use this one. Maybe here. No. One step forward. Here. And now I can mirror it. Function cannot be applied. Mesh has subdivision. So delete lower. Now I can mirror it. And now let's try to put the hand is going to be more or less something like this. Like this, like this. You can see now I am just trying to match the hand with the, in this case, the pinky finger is going to be imported again. And now I should turn the wrist like this. We don't have to be completely accurate making the pose because we are just creating the necessary base mesh to grab the depth information. So once we have the bas relief, it's going to be time to start sculpting. This, yes, it's something. I think this finger is the pinky finger, yes. This thing should looks like complicated, or maybe that it takes in unnecessary time or too much time, but believe me, all the time that you are putting on this to trying to playing around with the 3D mesh, trying to match the perspective of the picture, it's much better than the time that you're going to need to sculpt the hand from scratch. Just my personal view. So if I need to spend more time refining this view, in my opinion, it's much better to trying to sculpt things, or the hand from scratch, or a face from scratch. I'm gonna get rid of this fingers. I'm gonna remove the fingers because I only want this portion of the hand. Like this. Now I can repeat the same operation as before. Okay, let's see the hand, because I need to. The hand is a bit rotated, so it is something like this. Okay. And just you're watching now, I'm trying to match the perspective, right? So I can subdivide, and then the same as before, going to alpha, from mesh, okay, and alpha again to mesh. This is what I have. I can slice curve to slice the mesh here. So now delete hidden, and now I can make it bigger. For example, I'm going to use another method now. Let's match. You can see the picture, and now I can come back to the original. And where is the other hand? This is the other hand. I'm going to insert this, and here I have the two fingers, two hands, and this one should be behind, like this, and a little bit up, like this. Oops. Let's maybe this one. This should be a little bit more in front. You know that you are using the Alt key with the move brush, you are going to be able to push back and forth the mesh. This is very handy working on reliefs. Like this, I'm going to use the move infinitive with the back face to add more thickness here, and here, and here. Okay, we are almost there. Maybe here is a little bit more. We need to match as best as possible the reference. Okay, let's turn off the Sculpting Pro, and now I can start matching where the fingers are. Let's convert into Dynamesh. I used to work with when I working on reliefs like this. You can see I split the relief into many different pieces, into many different parts. All of them are, most of the time, maybe I can say 90% of the times, they are always Dynamesh. Now is the time to start adjusting the different levels. So there you go. Okay, I missed a lot of questions. Let's come back to your chat. Where did you get that Dynamesh utility plugin from? Is not that? Yeah, it is not. I'm gonna save it first. I'm You can grab it. Oh. Sorry, my. Okay. Let me check it twice if it's already safe. Yeah. You can. It is not an. It is an external plugin. You should go to the Pixelogic website. You can. Let's hide this. You need to go to the support resources. Go to plugins. And here you have a bunch of different plugins. Most of them are very useful. And then the Dynamics utility plugin is. Let's scroll down. It's almost at the bottom. But got bigger. Dynamics utility. Here you go. So you just need to download it and install it. You can see, that to install any plugin is not necessary to run any installation program. It's just to grab the folders of the plugin and drop it on the startup folder, on the default installation folder that ZBrush makes during the installation process. So it's a free plugin. Best plugin this software is ZBrush. ZBrush is very well known. It's the best software when we talk about digital sculpting. It's the standard on many different industries. Of course, it's my main tool. ZBrush. And can you give some advice to have good result on the clothes? Yeah, I'm gonna start creating clothes now. Maybe I'm gonna show you how to sculpt this kind of folds from the clothes. So to make more progress, so let's leave the hands as they are. So of course they need to be refined a little bit. So once we have this basement, we can start refining, adding more details, or for example, in this case, one detail is missed. We can start creating this fold, for example, on the wrist and things like this. But as we are still building the bas relief, we are still building the different levels. Let's create, for example, oops, come on. Yeah. Let's create first, for example, I'm gonna let's create the let me see the sleeves. Okay, I'm gonna create the sleeves here because if not, the hands are floating on the air, so they look a bit weird. So I'm gonna grab the insert primitives to create the arms or the sleeves. So let's grab this cylinder. Let's insert it in split mask points. Let's rotate it to put it on place. Let's create something as long as necessary. And now another very useful brush when you are working on reliefs is this brush. I love how it works. It's a Move Infinitive depth brush. So we can start changing the shape like this. This is going to be one sleeve. We're still checking. Now we are working on the right level. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make different polygroups based on normals, group by normals. And I'm going to group this one and this one. Control W. Okay. Let's use the Sculpting Pro. I use a lot the Sculpting Pro. Like this. When I am just blocking the shapes. I use it a lot. Like this. And now let's create this. It should go here. This here, we have a plane here, here, and here. Okay. So let's grab the H polish to start creating the different planes. We have a plane here. We have another plane here. We have another small plane there for the elbow. And this is more or less one sleeve. It is something like this. Let's create the other. Maybe we can use this one, the same, making a duplicate, make a mirror. And now using the same brush. Okay, before using the brush, let's use the gizmo to start. Put the arm on the right position. Now we can grab now the move infinitive to start matching the position of the arm. This, here we have another one. Hi, Sang-Hu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing well your name, Sang-Hu Cheong. I'm sorry. And okay, let's go. One very interesting thing here is this part. This is a nice detail that I like to replicate on a relief. Is this you can see here. Let's draw this. So this kind of the arm is going inside of the sleeve, so we can hear a little space here. So this is tricky to sculpt when we need to sculpt it from a one single shape. But as I am working with two different elements, I can start creating this kind of perspective when we are feeling that we are watching from the inside of the sleeve. Now we can't because we got it like this, but what we need to do now is trying to create this with the same feeling, like this kind of pocket or internal space. How we can do this? Yeah, it's very easy. This is the reason why I create a new polygroup before, because I used to leave this polygroup, this part of the sleeve as a different polygroup. I'm gonna create now a series measure with the polygroups active. Come on, like this. So let's go to the series measure. Maybe we can stay at the same amount, keeping the groups like this. And now what we can do is Control and tap here. No, I'm gonna use another process. So let's go to use the transpose line like this. The transpose line, it's you can see here, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create this, but I'm gonna create the mask only on this part. Using the transpose line, you can start creating something like this, changing the perspective. Let's repeat it. So you drag the transpose now, in this case from left to right. I am on move mode, so I can start moving without pressing any button or using any other control, and I can transform this perspective. And now the only thing to do is trying to match the perspective with the picture, and that's it. Maybe we need to push this to the right a little bit. We already have this. Let's grab this. Let's grab this. Let's try to match same perspective. I need more space here, like this. And now what we can do now, complete the perspective, is the same. I can yeah, create a mask based on this polygroup. Yeah, I think instead of this, maybe I'm gonna Control Shift, and you know that you can shrink the mask based on visibility. You can start shrinking to time. Now I can create the mask, invert the mask, and now I can pull this in. And now we have the necessary filling there. Of course, this is not going to work when we are creating a relief, because here, let's make this a little bit longer. And we should take an extra step, because it's not going to be possible to live like this with this kind of pocket inside of this leaf. So because we are creating a relief, so we need to create a fake illusion of perspective and depth in this case, but it should be, as the other parts of the design, 90 degrees from the surface. So let's zoom out here. Okay, so the one last step to take is I can create now a dynamesh, create only one polygroup. Whoops. Control W. Now we can go to polygroups, group front. We have a new polygroup based on camera position and the front view. Now we can grab this, mask this, invert the mask, and now we can pull this back, and now we have the necessary you can see now it's completely vertical. Maybe what we can do is like this. And this is what we have. Ready. Let's convert this into a dynamesh as well. Let's go into plugin. The thing that I liked about this plugin is because I can decide the amount of polygons that I want on the dynamesh. So I don't have to be playing with the right resolution. I just set up the amount of polygons that I need, and ZBrush do the rest. Okay, I have the hands right there. Okay, Nef, can you explain once more why you did the extrude on the arm? The extrude, this kind of, I'm gonna say first. Do you mean this extrusion? Okay, let's go back from history. Where are you? Here. Do you mean this extrusion? This kind of extrusion when I push back the arm? The reason why? This is what are you talking about? Yeah, because when we are creating a relief, Let's try to do this. When we are creating that part won't show up. Yeah, when we are creating a relief, we are always creating a surface, and we are just stacking different levels from a surface, and all of the levels are more or less around 90 degrees from the surface. That means that the angle that we have here should be 90 degrees. Okay, it should be a little bit more open, maybe more than 90 degrees, but it can't be lower than 90 degrees. We can't do this. So that's the reason why I should, when we are creating a relief for a milling or for a milling machine, you can see, you know, that the milling, the drill goes down and start going into two direction, and it can go up or down. And more complicated and more advanced machine, they can rotate the piece and they can start carving on the surface. But the main idea about relief is we are creating also only 90 degrees here. And before there was here a kind of pocket, so the drill is not possible to go inside and go outside to try to create that kind of shape. So okay, I'm gonna try to explain like this. You can see now the pocket or the hole now is closed, and this is what I have before, like this. So it is not possible to have this kind of pockets inside of the surface when we are creating this kind of things here. That's the reason why it should be closed, because the drill from the CNC from the milling machine goes here, and when it goes here, and when they start here, they start growing and start growing. So here we have 90 degrees, here we have again 90 degrees. So he follows this kind of path, like he is making, is taking steps of a stair. So it goes down, goes up to try to correct the relief. That's the reason why I'm used to do this kind of things. When we are talking about 3D printing, there is no problem, because we are just printing the whole thing, all of the volumes. When we are talking about a CNC milling works, they should be 90 degrees from the surface. I hope I explained it well. I tried to do my best. I'm sorry. That's the reason why I made that kind of extrusion, to have this kind of path. Okay, let's go for more things. Okay, maybe I can. Okay, for the inside pocket, yes. Okay, it was hard for me to explain that. Yes, most of the time things that you have in your mind and you know why you are doing them, but when you need to explain them, sometimes it's hard to find the right words, and even for me to try to find the right words in English. Okay, so I'm gonna use this, one of the new tools, the knife, to cut out this board like this. Okay, so let's go for more things. Let's create this kind of cloth. The cloth is falling down. It's like a kind of drapery, a coat or cape, or I don't know what it is. I already have this part. Thanks, Fester. I try to do my best. I'm sorry, because most of the time it's very difficult for me explain things in English when we are talking about very technical things, but I try to do my best. Okay, let's check if I missed any of your questions. No. Or your comments? No. Okay, let's go ahead for the let's start creating the, based from the picture, we can say that the highest point is going to be the elbow. This is the right, from the right arm. So we can see we are stay with the right measurements. You can see nothing is trespassing over the 4mm break I made here. It should be, maybe it can also can be a little bit more like this. Well, we're gonna still need to play with the different heights, but let's go for this. It is something like this. It is, let's with the picture like this, like this. It lays here in this part of the arm, like this, like the, okay. And maybe this, it should be gonna push this back a little bit more, like this. So the only thing that we have now is a block. It's like a piece of material. I used to talk very often about using traditional way of sculpting processes or terminology when I am naming things. So what I see here is like I have a piece of clay and I need to still creating the sculpting of the folds of the cloth. So, but before go ahead with the folds, it's going to be very important to analyze the perspective of the piece. You can see here. Let's go with the breadth. Where I can, like this. Here we have one plane. And here we have maybe another one here, and maybe we have a third here. And they are going from the front to the back. So here I still haven't that illusion that it's going from the front to the back. This is one thing that I need to solve before I start making any sculpting of the folds. And also I need to start splitting this into different planes and to have the illusion that it is going like this. Okay, I'm gonna try to draw an arrow in perspective. You know what I mean? It's going from the back, from the front to the back. So this what I was talking about before about the fake illusion of perspective when we are sculpting a relief. So this is the first thing to fix. So I'm gonna use this H polish. I'm gonna start creating one plane here. Let's say another one here. And it should be pull this back to start creating the fake illusion of perspective. Like this. And let's grab this. So we are start seeing that the cloth is going from the front to the back, more or less. So let's follow with the planes here. One plane and one plane here. Let's go with this one again. See here I have another fold, bit one here. Like this, you're gonna start seeing the effect of perspective. And from this point, it's just a matter of start creating the smaller folds, like this, and like this. Maybe this part should be a little bit back. like this. You can see here what I mean before. Here we are start making the illusion of perspective. And here is not going to be necessary because the perspective is completely flat on this part. Maybe the only thing that we need to fix is this portion. No. This part should be a little bit thicker. It goes from here to here. Here we have a step. Here we have a deeper area, so we can smooth this. Move with the Alt key. We can start pull this back. This. And we can start creating folds. I don't use Matrix. I haven't got any knowledge about any other 3D software. The only software that I use is ZBrush. To practice sculpting, watching your videos. Thank you, Neff. I try to do my best about explanation because I always said, but I try to make a different stuff than usual that you can see on the channel, where most of the people are creating the stuff about different things. That's the reason why I select this kind of job, because it's different. And also we are creating reliefs. And this is very common. This is very common to see this kind of jobs on the jewel industry, where when we need to sculpt saints and virgins for medals and coins, but also you can use the same process for 3D printing for another applications. Okay, let's go. So let's create the mask here. This is going to be the process that I'm going to use for start creating the folds. You can see I use a lot mask. I use this brush, SK cloth. It is from, it is a package of brushes that I love to use from a Japanese guy called Sakaki Kaoru. You can find them on ArtStation. You can start. For example, I love how this brush works, like this, and also this is KSLash, but I prefer to change the alpha from the default one to the alpha 39, and now I can start creating the folds like this. Here we have a fold. We have 1 and 2. We still need to make the number 2. Maybe I'm gonna play with the transparency of the image. Maybe like this, because I can see better now where the folds are. Here we have another fold. And one more. This is going down, going back. No, this is like this. I'm using this. And you start seeing the folds. You can start making a mask of this one with the move brush. You start pulling the fold to create this. You can, for example, let's create this one, the mask. In this case, with the back face active, you're gonna start. No, the mask here should be better. This. Maybe now ZBrush, the finishing that I'm getting is telling to me that I don't have the right resolution. Want to need this alpha. this, because you can see here I'm working only with 224,000 polygons, but I need a better defined shapes when I'm working with Dynamesh. So that means that I need more polygons. So what I do is going back to the C plugin, Dynamesh utility, and 1 million will be better. So let's start working with 1 million. With the back face like this. And I start getting maybe this one. It's a little bit wider here. That's the reason why I love to work with Dynamesh, because I'm always what happened with Dynamesh? Yes. No. I always stretching and destroying or damaging the mesh, so that's the reason why I prefer to work with Dynamesh instead of with subdivision levels. This is another brush from the pack, SK Clay Fill. This is I love to use this for the soft transitions. Not to start creating the crests or so this is what we have. We still don't know which is going to be the thickness here, because we still need more things to take the final decision about how far it should go from the surface. So let's go with this part. Yes, the brush is amazing. Yes. Is there any extra comfort using custom brushes over default brushes? No, because many people, it's just a matter of personal taste. When you are getting used to use a specific brush, you like to use that brush and you don't mind about the other brushes. So once you start getting more and more confidence with one brush, so that's the brush that works better for you. But that doesn't mean that that's the right brush. This is the brush that you like to use, to just a personal searching of the right tool for your personal purposes. Okay, here we have a very complicated and intricate different kind of faults here. What we can do is, I'm gonna create a mask here, grabbing this like this, and what I'm gonna do using the move brush and start pulling up this and making this. Burn the mask, pull this in, burn the mask. This is the way that I use for creating faults. Let's make it as straight, as more straight as possible. So okay, this is, we are, yes, this here we have one step. Let's make it a little bit higher, like this. It goes, maybe here is a little bit lower than here, a little bit lower here. You can see with the help of a mask. So we have one fault there. So with the back face, with the move, you can start pulling in this. So we have one fold here, and another one is this one. Invert the mask. It should go here and inside. The same thing here and inside. The same thing here and inside. It's very important, this movement. So here we have another fold. And let me... Okay. And here we have another one more. Interesting one. It is, let me, okay. It goes here and here. Because it looks like it is. Here I can use this brush to start doing this. Because here we have a little step that goes inside of the other one. Like this. You can see the effects that you can achieve with the mask. Back face mask now for a start. Back face and no back face to start. Once you see that you are losing a lot of detail when you are creating a new mesh with a new Dynamesh, what I like is going back. I prefer to set up the blur to 0 and turn this off. Here we have a tiny, almost hidden button here. You can see it is orange, or turning on and off. I prefer to keep them both non-active, and now I create the Dynamesh again. That it respects better the folds, because it is not applying any kind of smoothing on the surface. Okay, so let's go another fold, interesting fold we have here. Move and we should move this in to the right direction like this. Move. I use a lot the back face for sculpting. You can see here. So we have now we already have the basic structure of the folds. We still need to make one more. It goes here, here. And it goes down like this. Yes. It goes up. Now I'm using the Alt key with the move brush. This. Okay. Maybe we can pull this in. Try to fix the non-regular lines like this. And we are start getting the folds. Sky is asking, what is ornamental trim curve brush? How to create ornament border around neck? What do you mean? Ornamental trim curve brush. I don't know what you mean. How to create ornament border around the neck? Around this neck or another other design? ornamental trim curve brush. As far as I know, the trim curves brushes, Control Shift, they are here. Where are you? Trim curve, it means this, you can see the small scissors here. It's the behavior of this brush is like when you are cutting, when you are using a scissor, you're cutting things, but it's better to use the knife curve instead of the trim curve. But I don't know what you mean about ornamental border around the neck or ornamental trim curve brush. So once you have the main folds that I already have here, maybe I need more detail, something. Yeah, because the arm is too thick here in this point. It should be here. Okay, now it's better. And now here it should go, I should match more or less the reference, like this, this, like this. Okay. What is happening here? Oh. Like this. Okay, we have more detail here. I'm gonna use this, the polish brush is what I like to call this brush, like my sandpaper brush. Don't forget to use this brush in combination with the Alt key always, the polish brush. And I need to make a mask here. Convert the mask. And here, for example, with the H polish, I should make this. And now this part of the arm should be here. And this should be here. And this should be higher. This one should be lower. Till getting a good, okay, I think like this. At the moment it works. So I already have here one thing to fix. You can see that the tweaking never ends. You're always tweaking or fixing, adjusting things. But I need to create here another fold that I like. Is this one. This one should go going back. Like this. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with the results. Looks nice. Maybe this one. Well, we are reaching the border. It's not good to have a very high points, because most of the time the reliefs goes when we are creating coins or medals. Normally the reliefs go is start growing, start having this kind of shape. So we are reaching the highest point more or less here in this part. We are dividing the surface into 3 parts. Maybe the highest points always are more or less in the number 2 section, but once they start closer to the border, they start going down till having here the minimum height. So hasn't sense to have something like this as I had before, to have here this kind of vertical wall here in the border. So it's much better to have this kind of lens profile from the side view. Looks nicer. So okay, so let's go to another part of the design. So we still need to follow working on the. Okay, let's go on this. This part has a very interesting faults things here happening. I'm gonna use this. Let's use the shoulder. Should be here. More or less the shoulder is there, and it has kind of all here to see the more or less the effect of the shoulder. And let's go with this part. This is going to be a very interesting thing. Same technique as before. Let's create this. Move brush. Invert mask. Okay, with this, for example, you have this. Now we have okay, before removing the mask, we can invert the mask, use this brush, and we can start pulling in this. Let's zoom in. Zoom in here. You can see we are starting creating this fold, one fold here. Let's add more intensity like this, and we can now create this. Because this, we need to pull this in here. Invert the mask. Like this. You can see here that we start getting the transition. Now we can this, and now we have the fold there. We need to join this. Like this, like this. And we have a little triangle here. Blur the mask, and pull this in. Back face to add more thickness here. No, back face with the move brush. Like this. And now we have the necessary folds there. We have more folds. For example, here we have another one. Blur the mask. Move. Fold this in. Here we have another one. Small one here. And you start with the smooth valleys. Now you can start smoothing the transition like this, and you start getting the right faults there, like this. Let's create, we can use this brush for create the others. One fault here, another one fault there, one fault here, another here, and another one maybe here. Now notice that we are working with more or less 500,000. This is not going to be enough polygon for creating a clean fault. So that means that we need more polygons, the same as before. When I need more detail, when I need more definition, I used to go directly to 1 million. So even if I need even more resolution or the smaller details, I go from 1 million to 1.5 millions, maybe to 2 millions. Maybe I used to stay, or I used to try to stay below always 3 millions. So I never go above of 3 millions. But I try to don't stay above of 3 millions. And I'm talking about for each subtool. I'm not talking about the whole model. I'm talking about the subtool, about the subtool that I'm working on. Okay. So let's go to 1 million. Okay, with 1 million, we will be able to get better defined shapes. Let's go. Maybe this part should be with the back face. It needs to raise a little bit. I'm going to create this kind of belt that he has here. Maybe we can the belt. So I'm going to use, for example, cube. I'm gonna grab a cube. Let's put the cube here. Split mass points. Let's extrude the cube. Let's pull this in. And let's put it on the right position. Oh. I need to pull this out a little bit because this fault continues here like this. And maybe in this should be here and should be more or less like this. Okay, so let's save it. Yeah, I think it is not a you can see the SK slash. Oh, let's wait. Okay. So with the SK slash, you can see here we have the SK slash has IQ curve mode active. if I use the dam standard, no, I want to be the dam standard. Dam standard already also has AccuCurve active, but the dam standard brush, in my opinion, works better for organic folds when we are creating, for example, an elephant skin or lizard skin. In my opinion, it works better than this one. This one, in my opinion, works better for clothes and for other stuff. But I don't used to use this brush for folds. We have two Damien standard brushes, right? We have Dame standard one. No, here and the Dame is this another one. You can see more or less works the same. If I turn this on, maybe we can be getting the same result, but you can see here the differences between this one and this one. I think this one is like the ridge of the cavity is more relaxed, it's more curved on the border, so that means that in my opinion it looks like more for organic stuff, for skin folds, for example. But when you are sculpting clothes, in my opinion, works much better this brush instead of the standard brush. But more or less the idea is almost the same. Okay, let's start working on this sleeve, this part of the design. I'm going to use this tool for creating this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one, for example, one existing subtool. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to create the mask here of this portion only. Hide, delete hidden, and control drag to close the holes with the Dynamesh. And here I can pull this out. Of course, this one should be here, and this one should be here, and this one should be there, more or less. This one. This, the belt. Okay, let's grab this one. Let's start creating the folds for this one. The same technique as before. So here we have one main big fold here. Move brush and Alt key. So we already have one. Let's grab this and the others. I think it's not going to be necessary to maybe let's clean this before release the mask. Okay, so for the others with SK clay fill will be enough. So we can make one depression here, another one here, and another one here. Maybe most of the time when you're sculpting folds, you are always creating X and Y's. You can see here, this is a Y, letter Y. You can see here, this is a Y. This is a tension folds. Here we have a Y. Most of the times there are Y's and X when you are creating folds. Most of the time has this kind of, they can be more elongated like this, more longer or shorter, but most of the time you are creating Y and X shapes when you are sculpting folds. Let's pull this in a little bit more. Let's pull this in. The thing that I like about this brush is it creates very soft transitions. This is the reason why I love to use this brush. instead of another existing one. because maybe you can do this with a completely different brush, but move brush the same as before. Here we only have this part, but in this case with us for a so tiny piece of geometry, and you can see we are just creating this little part of the model. It's not going to be necessary to add more polygons to the whole thing, so will be enough. Instead of 200,000 polygons, will be better, maybe we can stay around 600,000 polygons. Not necessary to reach 1 million. I mean, back face here. Maybe this ball is too close to the border. Okay, like this. You are saying IMM curve brush. Okay, it's ornamental design that create continuous design around the curve, like ornamental lace. These are yes, there are many ways. For example, the most common way, for example, you have this. I'm gonna create only one polygroup. Control W. We need to create an ornamental thing around in the border of this leaf. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a mask. So just to create the path, so Control W. So now you can go to stroke, curve functions. In this case, it's going to be necessary to keep active polygroups. So I'm frame mesh. So once you have this, you can see a curve appears in the border of both polygroups. And now you can grab, let's say, for example, I already have some, but we can create our own custom brush. For example, we can grab this one, the default IMM. I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna grab a cylinder. By default, you can insert cylinder one by one, but you can go with any existing IMM brush. You can go to a stroke and turn on the curve mode. So once you have this, you can click here, and now you can, no, instead of this one will be better. You can do this. Maybe you can play with the depth. Boop. And you can create an ornamental thing surrounding this leaf. I think that is what you are looking for, or not? It's ornamental design that creates continuous design around the curve. Yes. Yeah, that's it. And there are many. For example, we change from the cylinder to the sphere. We can create the spheres or any other. This one, for example, I have some downloaded from internet. I have here my collection of brushes. One of them made by my own, and another one's downloaded from the internet. For example, this one. This is made by me. You can start creating things like this. This doesn't work very well because the pieces of the curve of the insert brush, they are too blocky. They haven't enough resolution, so they're not able to bend and to adapt to the size. This is not a good example. For example, here we have a rope brush. There are many. Where are you? This one. Maybe better this one. You can grab it around the curve. So the only thing that you need to know is the way of do this is This is based on polygroups. For example, if you need to create stitches here, for example, let's create a polygroup here, Ctrl W, another polygroup here, Ctrl W. Now you can go to a stroke, again, curve functions, frame mesh, and here inside of the default installation brushes, you have stitches. Maybe here. Not here. Where are they? The stitch brush. I don't remember. Maybe here. Yeah, insert a stitch brush. This one. You can send the stitches where you want based on a curve, and you can draw the curve based on polygroups. That's the idea. Okay. Okay, let's just continue making faults. I love to sculpt faults, so this for me is very relaxed. So we can start creating this little faults that they are here. Acute curve for the acute curve, it's for example, I'm gonna show you an application about the acute curve. For example, you can see here, this is one usage, one application that I use it very often, the acute curve. For example, here you can see, here we have almost something like a corner here, like this. So I am talking about this. We are not having this kind of relaxed shape that we have here. We are looking for more like this with a little corner here. So for that, the acute curve becomes very, very useful, because if you try to do this without acute curve, you grab, for example, the move brush and you try to make this, but you are still making a curve deformation. But if you turn the acute curve on, you're going to be able to, you can see, to start creating corners like this, here and there. And okay, let's say this should be, you can see here a little corner here, a little corner, for example, here, a little corner here. This is a direct application that I use for the acute curve. But the main difference, you can see here, it's going to make something like this. This is with acute curve, and this is without acute curve. You can see the end of the extrusion becomes pointy, or like this. And this is one with when you're creating faults, this becomes very useful, because when you're creating faults, everything looks like very too relaxed. So one of the ways to break this kind of relaxing feeling, or they looks like more like melty cheese instead of cloth, is breaking the curves with the acute curve and the move brush. Like I'm doing now, it's just to adding the feeling of tension to the cloth. For example, here, if I go here, we can add more tension here, or I don't know, maybe add more tension here. This is the IQ curve. I use this a lot for this. To add tension on the cloths. What is the make and model of the graphic tablet? Do you mean about what is the model of my Wacom tablet? What is the make and model of the graphic? I am using a Wacom 22 inches tablet. It is an old model. 22 inches HD Wacom Cintiq tablet. I'm sorry, Wacom Cintiq. Let's fix this part, for example, using the same technique as before. Pull this in, invert. You want to make something thinner, you can use the pinch brush. You can start pinching this part. Like this. Nope. Still. This, and for example the H polish, just start creating this plane, and now here we have another fold here. And for example, if we can break this line with a corner, we can use the move and IQ curve, for example, to start and things like this. Like this, and I don't like this. Maybe it's not going to be necessary to break this. No, better. Maybe the collar, the neck, this. We should, for example, I can use this. We can, for example, grab the neck and over the neck. Okay, come on. Okay, come here. So let's grab the move curve to snap brush and create a curve there. Let's split brush points. And this is something growing is happening here with the hair. The hair is not so close. I need a bit more of a space here. This. We can H polish, for example, to start making this portion flat. The hair needs to be improved, I think. Okay, so maybe it's longer here. I really want to learn Bruno really want to learn ZBrush, but I'm easily overwhelmed by the amount of anatomy that I need to learn. Well, is to make one of those action figures statues. Yeah, if you're looking for, or you want to create that kind of action figure statues, I guess, about superheroes or something similar. Yeah, to know anatomy is a must, but I think that you train your eye in terms of copying what you are watching. So have a good criteria about what you are watching and what you are sculpting. Maybe it's not going to be necessary to know, to have a big knowledge about anatomy, but trying to copy well, it could be a shorter way to achieve more or less the same thing. But if you are looking for to create statues, I mean realistic statues, human anatomy, so it's going to be necessary to learn something about anatomy or to understand how the anatomy works in terms of different poses and things like that. Okay, let's revise your questions just in case I missed any. Okay. Let's follow making more progress. Where's my pencil here? So with on these lips, we have here very interesting bolts. What we can do here, I'm gonna show you another technique. Is using to create this kind of fault. Here you can see the Y's, as I said before. Here we have a Y, here another one, here we have an X, here we have another X here, this is another Y, here we have a tiny Y here again. Okay, remember Y is an X. So the process that I'm gonna create this is store morph target before I start sculpting anything. And now what I'm going to do is using, for example, the polish brush, the sandpaper. Remember, I'm going to start sanding this. Start making it smaller or thinner. It's like the feeling that I have when I'm using this brush is like I am sanding the surface using a sanding tool, in this case a soft sanding tool like a sandpaper. You have to use this brush in combination with the Alt key, not by default, so Alt and the brush. So once I have this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the morph brush. I'm gonna start creating the faults here. One here, another one here, another one there, another one here, another one here. This one should be smaller. Because the morph brush, remember the original shape of the mess when we pressed this border. So we were recording the original shape. So once you have this, let's continue this side. Let's, for example, go in this. That's here. Now you can start smoothing the peaks. And now to still having this kind of relaxing. Okay, I forgot to add this V shape or this the Y here. So now with the smooth valleys, you can start smoothing this part. This is another way to create folds with the morph target brush. And now it's just a matter to start refining the folds, like this one. Same process with the masks. I'm gonna use this two mask and more messages. Muchas gracias, Cristóbal. Me alegro que te guste. So we can start creating the folds like this. I think that my favorite method is this one with the mask. So you're gonna start creating the folds on these lips. For example, here. You have to be careful when you are pulling the mesh. Just to pull in the mesh in the middle, try to don't make this, because if you have a mask like this and you pull this in, so it looks strained, it doesn't look like a fold. So never stay too close to the border, to the beginning and the end of the fold. So just pull in or pull out the border. Like this. Let's create, here we have a very interesting fold here. Yes. And it is less mark in the middle. Another one here. So conclusion is, instead of using the sculpting process, you can start blocking or creating your folds with a mask instead of waste a lot of time with a sculpting process. There are many ways to sculpt cloth folds, you know. There are many different ways or techniques out there. You can find a lot of information about this. Just a matter to start refining. Maybe here with the IQ curve we can break this. This out, this. Yeah, let's make more progress on the folds. Yeah, something. The little folds that we have here, they are very interesting. Here we have 1, 2, and 3. This ones, they are the smaller ones. I think they are the more complicated ones. I think this is a new way. Okay, I think maybe it's not that. Maybe it's going to be a new way for you because I shown you something different. But this is maybe this is not my. I mean that this is not very special. So this is another way. But I can bet. I think many people are using the same process as me. Maybe depending the kind of fold that you can make, maybe you can. There are different techniques for each kind of fold, depending on the kind of fold that you have to make. In this case, this technique is useful, but another example maybe is not that useful. The pinch brush is very useful as well to start pinching. This is another reason, one more, that I have to work with Dynamesh, because you know when you are pinching the mesh, you are adding a lot of stress to the polygons. So, but you have the chance to create a new mesh every time you need it. You are not worried about topology and subdivision levels and stuff like this. That's the reason why I prefer to use Dynamesh instead of subdivision levels. On the pinch brush, pinch, here you are. So you can start pinching the mesh and adding more tension to the folds. Adding more tension and more tension. This is the feeling to have, I think, in my opinion, to achieve a good cloth sculpting. is having the feeling of tension and gravity when we are creating folds of a cloth. In some cases, you can see that the cloth looks like more like melted cheese because it hasn't the feeling of gravity or tension depending on the movement. And I think the pinch brush helps a lot. Maybe I can add more intensity to add more the feeling of tension to the folds. You can see. And it's another way to correct non-regular lines into a straight lines, because with the pinch brush, you can see here, you can fix. You can fix with the, for example, let's see here, you can see this is not regular. This, you can start pinching here, and then becomes completely straight, and then you are achieving more the feeling of tension. Yeah, pinch brush. Maybe we need to move this everything. One problem that I have here on the hands is that this kind of blocky filling that I have here on the hands. The way that I have to solve this is using the polish brush, the sandpaper again, and I start sanding this edge, making this kind of movement. One here and another one here. So movement number one, movement number two, you can start sanding into two directions. Yep. Yeah, I'm using symmetry. Sandpaper too. As I said before, I use many times words or techniques related to traditional way of working, because maybe the reason why I don't come from the 3D world, so I felt in love with ZBrush because the feeling of real clay sculpting. So my only 3D background before ZBrush was zero. So I started using ZBrush, applying same techniques that I was making with real clay. Maybe that's why I used to call brushes to sandpaper files and drills and things like this. And if you have the chance to buy or to have a Cintiq or a graphic tablet with they are called interactive monitors. I mean that you are sculpting directly on the screen, so you are not using a on table tablet, so you can enhance the feeling that you are sculpting with real clay, because you are touching the screen. That means you are having the feeling that you are sculpting instead of using your hand on a tablet on your table. So maybe for next streaming, I'm gonna keep working on this one, because this is going to be maybe the latest streaming about this design. We will prepare it for 3D printing or for CNC milling, and then I will start thinking about my next streaming. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a ring or another pendant design. It's time to save and to say goodbye. Okay. Maxon, Nacho, you are off. Formula One car and ZBrush, you go for the flop. Yeah, many hours working on ZBrush during the day, I think. Okay, so this is what we have done. Let's wait. Okay, let's frame. So as I said before, next stream I will be still working on this design to leave it completely done, and still have to work on this arm, adding the cross, I don't know how to call this in English, rosario in Spanish, and still tweaking some things and start preparing the file for 3D printing or for CNC milling, and that's it. Hope you found it useful. I'll wait you here next Wednesday, same time. So don't forget to like and subscribe the video, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. So and click the bell on YouTube to stay up to date of the future streamers on the ZBrush Live channel, and we'll keep in touch on social media. You can reach me on ArtStation, Instagram, or Facebook, whatever you want. We'll be glad to help you as more as I can to answer all of your questions. And again, I hope you find this session useful. We will be making more progress next Wednesday. So take care and see you next week. Bye, everyone. See ya.